What truly happens with our soul when the body finally comes to rest at night? When our eyes close and silence envelops the world. Do we merely rest, or do we step through an invisible gate beyond wakefulness? Rudolf Steiner invites us to view sleep not as a mere pause between 2 days, but as a great mystery of human existence. For me, every act of falling asleep signifies a true separation. The physical body and the etheric body remain in bed, while our eye and astral body liberate themselves and enter into different spheres of reality. In this detachment, our soul experiences contact with worlds that usually remain hidden from our ordinary gaze. To understand sleep is therefore to begin our own access to the essence of human destiny. In this video, we want to penetrate this veil together and explore what Steiner described as the forbidden vision of sleep. Before we continue, I want to remind you to visit our members area and shop, where we offer special content that deepens this spiritual journey. When night falls and we close our eyes, something happens that goes far beyond what we usually call sleep. Our physical body lies still on the bed. Our breath deepens. Our muscles relax. And yet an invisible process takes place, which Rudolf Steiner describes as one of humanity's decisive experiences. He explains that when we fall asleep, our eye and astral body leave the physical and etheric bodies behind. These two envelopes rest like an abandoned vessel, while our soul's spiritual essence separates and enters other realms. During sleep, the eye and astral body leave the physical body, Steiner stated in 1910. In this seemingly simple statement lies a great truth. Sleep is not merely biological regeneration, but an entry into spiritual dimensions that remain hidden from us in our waking state. While our body rests, our soul comes into motion. The eye and astral body are not bound by the heaviness of the flesh, but gain access to spheres that are finer, more vibrant, and more comprehensive than any earthly experience. Thus, sleep reveals itself as a double reality: outwardly rest, inwardly awakening. It's as if we pass through a gate every night. On one side remains the world of the senses, the clarity of day, our actions and speech. On the other, a sphere opens where our soul experiences its true home. The separation of the bodies shows us that the human being is more than nerves and organs, more than the transient form that the mirror shows us. That is why falling asleep becomes a silent reminder of our spiritual essence. Every transition into the night carries the hint that our being is not anchored in the body, but in a deeper ground that connects us with the invisible order of the cosmos. Thus, Steiner reveals the true character of sleep. No mere pause between 2 days, but a mystery that teaches us to think beyond ourselves. Whoever begins to comprehend this separation recognizes a promise within it. Every night carries within it the image of immortality. While we sleep and our eye, along with the astral body, ventures into distant spheres, the etheric body remains behind, closely connected with the physical body. It does not leave the bed, but lies like an invisible guardian at our side. And in its silent presence, something happens that we hardly notice in everyday life. The physical body would not be viable without it. It would collapse upon itself, incapable of maintaining breath or circulation. Steiner describes this mysterious process with the words, "The etheric body remains in bed and sustains life." In this simple sentence lies a key that allows us to sense that even in sleep, when we surrender ourselves to the darkness, incessant forces are at work. What appears from the outside as complete rest is, in truth, an intensive activity of life that takes place in secret. The etheric body is like a temple that protects the organism, like an invisible architecture that preserves life force breath by breath. It keeps the rhythms of the blood flowing. It carries warmth. It ensures that the body does not fall into rigidity. Without it, sleep would mean not regeneration, but dissolution. It shows that what appears to us as inactivity is, in truth, a silent work of the highest importance. We are never completely abandoned. While the I and astral body detach and enter the vastness, the etheric body remains and carries the light of life into every cell. This awareness changes our view of sleep. We no longer see it merely as a pause, no longer just an interruption of the day, but an interplay of forces in which the spiritual and the physical complement each other. The etheric body works in the depths so that we can awaken renewed in the morning. Whoever recognizes this hidden activity understands that a guardian lives within our being, accompanying us in the darkest hours. Sleep is therefore not a passive state, but a mystery in which life itself, carried by the etheric body, performs its uninterrupted work. When we immerse ourselves in sleep and the physical body remains in bed with the etheric body, a mysterious journey of the astral body and the I begins. They step out of the narrow confines of the senses and enter those spheres that Steiner describes as the spiritual worlds. There they receive forces that we need for the coming day, forces that do not originate from matter, but from the sources of the cosmos itself. In sleep, man is in the spiritual worlds, says Steiner. This sentence indicates to us that the nightly experience is not merely empty or forgotten, but a gliding into a reality that eludes our daytime consciousness. While the world around us becomes still, our soul becomes active. It encounters entities. It absorbs impressions. It gathers what returns to us in the morning as silent renewal. However, we do not bring these experiences back in pure form. What we remember upon waking are dreams, images that often appear confused, fleeting scenes that seem to have no logical connection. And yet, they are more than just fantasies of the brain. They are shadows, reflections, images of a higher reality that the I and astral body traverse during the night. Thus, the dream becomes a bridge between worlds. It is not truth itself, but its disguise, a poetic transformation of the cosmos into the language of the soul. Whoever begins to view dreams in this way recognizes in them not merely chance or deception, but the echoes of a journey undertaken every night. The actual reality of this journey remains hidden from our waking consciousness. We awaken, and what we bring back is veiled, transformed, sometimes little more than a feeling, an image, a faint echo. But behind these fragments, an order works that reaches deeper than any earthly experience. The dream is not the origin, but the result. It is the trace that the spiritual leaves in consciousness. Thus, Steiner teaches us to understand sleep as an encounter with the cosmos, as a homecoming of the I into its true dimension. In this nightly journey, we receive those forces that renew us, that shape our inner being and accompany our destiny. And if we take dreams seriously, we recognize in them the faint echo of a greater truth. They are shadows of a reality that touches us in the depths of our being. When we open our eyes in the morning and wonder what happened during the night, we often only have fragments, unclear images, fleeting scenes that slip away as quickly as mist in the sunlight. Dreams appear chaotic, without order, sometimes confusing, sometimes full of symbolism that eludes our understanding. And yet, they carry within them an origin that reaches far deeper than everyday consciousness can imagine. Steiner says, "What is experienced in the spirit returns as a dream image." With this, he indicates that the dream is not merely a game of the brain, not a random sequence of chemical processes, but the shadow of a real experience that our eye and astral body have lived through during the night. Behind the apparent arbitrariness of the images lies a hidden and veiled order, like an echo of a world that we touch but are not allowed to remember in its pure form. For forgetting is necessary. It is a protection. If we were to carry everything that the soul experiences in the spiritual spheres into our waking consciousness, our thinking would be flooded with images, our will paralyzed, our feelings overwhelmed. The forces we touch during the night are too great, too powerful to be endured by our waking consciousness. Thus, forgetting cloaks the night in silence, and only fragments ascend, disguised in the colorful garments of the dream. This forgetting, however, is not a loss. It is rather a law that protects us from overload. For every night we receive more than we can grasp. We experience encounters. We receive impressions. We immerse ourselves in realities that are greater than the narrow logic of the day. That we forget them does not mean that they disappear without a trace. They continue to work in secret. They nourish our soul. They shape our destiny. Thus, dreams are like faint traces, like hints of what happens in the depths. They remind us that our existence is not limited to the day, but that every night opens a realm in which we absorb forces that we perceive as renewal in the morning. Whoever begins to understand forgetting, not as a weakness, but as wisdom, recognizes in the dream the form of a mystery. Every night brings experiences that are greater than we can remember. And so, the dream remains a riddle, a hint of a spiritual reality that surrounds us and sustains us, even if our consciousness can barely grasp it. When night falls and we surrender to sleep, an invisible door opens, connecting us with experiences that reach far beyond what we can grasp with our waking senses. Our body remains behind, but our soul enters spaces where encounters are possible that remain hidden from our daytime consciousness. Steiner describes that in sleep, not only does a separation of our essential members occur, but that our soul penetrates into spheres where it comes close to deceased and spiritual entities. Such encounters are not mere fantasies. They are real experiences that take place in the depths of our soul, even if we cannot remember them in the morning. These are touches that grant us strength, that carry our destiny. In the night, we receive from these spiritual encounters the strengthening that we need in our daily life, without being aware of the source. In sleep, man unconsciously prepares for death, says Steiner. In this sentence lies a serious and at the same time comforting truth, for every sleep is like a small image of death. Just as when we fall asleep, the eye and astral body leave the body, so it will also happen in that last hour when the separation is final. The only difference is that in sleep we return, while death leads the way into a new form of existence. Therefore, sleep is not only rest, but also an exercise, a silent initiation. Every night we unconsciously imitate the great transition. We learn to let go of the physical. We practice entering the spiritual. Thus, sleep carries a double meaning. It gives the body rest, and it prepares the soul for the greatest mystery of human existence. Whoever views sleep in this light recognizes that every night is a gift, an inconspicuous initiation, a step towards that dimension that awaits us after death. We do not have to consciously remember it, for its meaning lies deeper. It quietly shapes us, strengthens us, imperceptibly teaches us the way into the beyond. Thus, Steiner shows that every night is more than darkness and forgetting. It is encounter, preparation, a rehearsal for the moment when the soul finally leaves the body. Sleep is therefore not only the mirror of life, but also the silent teacher of death. At the end of this journey, which has led us through the hidden dimensions of sleep, we can assemble the picture that has emerged from all the individual observations. Sleep is not merely a biological process, not just the necessary resting of a tired body, but the deepest of all spiritual journeys. Every night, our soul detaches from the heaviness of the flesh, steps out of the narrow confines of physical existence, and finds its way into those worlds that remain closed to our daytime consciousness. In this separation, freedom begins. Our I and astral body leave the body. They encounter spiritual entities. They receive forces that they carry into the coming day. In sleep, the silent preparation for the greatest mystery of human existence, death, is revealed. For what we experience every night is a quiet prelude to the final transition that awaits us one day. Sleep thus becomes a mirror of dying and, at the same time, an image of resurrection, when we awaken anew in the morning with renewed strength and a hint of infinity within us. Steiner shows us that in every dream, in every memory of the night, a trace of this higher reality is contained, even if we do not fully comprehend it. Even if forgetting casts a veil over the nightly experiences, they nevertheless continue to work within us. They shape our soul, strengthen our will, connect us with the great law that guides our destiny. To understand sleep, therefore, means to understand the human being as a being between body, soul, and spirit. It is the daily touchstone that shows us that we are more than matter, that our true being is rooted in a spiritual order that transcends birth and death. Thus, the final insight remains. Whoever views sleep in its true sense recognizes in it not only rest, but the forbidden vision, the secret knowledge that every night is a small initiation into the mysteries of our own destiny. If these thoughts resonate with you, then continue to accompany us on this path, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us as we reveal the next secrets of the spiritual world.